Hey, everybody, what's going on? How we all doing tonight? Let's see who all we got here. Turn off my phone. Well, let's see here. Who we got in the house tonight? Joyce Canning is here, so we all know the party can start. Oh, hey, some good news, Joyce. That's great. So the knee replacement is on for June 20th. Excellent. And glad to hear the heart issues are a thing of the past too. That's great. So hi, Miriam. Happy Friday to you, Amy. Hey, Scott Moran. Hi, Teresa. Yep. Hi, Jess Mack. And Dave and Amy Jessen are here. Good. Doug and his sweet wife are here. Doug, did you have another wife beside Margie? I wasn't aware. All right. Listening outside. Ooh, outside. Awesome. Amy had a good day. Was very busy working. That's good. Hi, Linda Horn. Hey, DW. How you doing, buddy? Janet Moran got to spend 6 hours in front of a computer during virtual training. Oh, Jan, I am so sorry. Wow. I will try to be more entertaining than that tonight. I can't promise I will be, but I will try. Hey, Mike and Tina Bird. Glad to see you. What else we got here? Teresa. Oh, Joyce and DW, I think, are neighbors. I think they're just now figuring that out. Hey, Joe, Marsha Bowman. Beth Reedy. How you doing, Carl? So, good deal. We're going to give everybody a chance to jump on here tonight. A little warm out today, wasn't it? It was plenty warm, and trying to get everything going here. So, all right. Spend some time on the lake with some friends. Beth, that sounds wonderful. I don't know how many of you got to see my Instagram today, but I got to go magnet fishing, and this was my haul today. I don't know if you can see that. Doesn't seem to be showing up very well. We caught 26 railroad ties today. We pulled 26 railroad ties out of the river, railroad spikes. 26 railroad spikes out of the river. We caught a bunch of rebar, caught some bike handlebars and stuff, and had a great time doing it. So it was a good night for that. And I heard that Margie Whitling is interested in going magnet fishing, and I'm gonna have to see if we get her out there and do that. We found a great spot. We were catching railroad spikes 2 and 3 at a time. They were really coming out of the water tonight. Or earlier today. So I got absolutely filthy, had a wonderful time doing it, and I took a shower, and now I'm here. So, all right. So, you guys awake tonight? Is anybody here? Am I here by myself? Hello. All right. For those of you who are going to follow along tonight, got a book. We're going to be on page 168. So, hey, hi, Marge. Good to see you tonight. Hi, Crystal. Thanks, Teresa. Teresa, I got your text today, too. Thank you for the prayer. Always appreciate that. I guess I just now realized I didn't text you back. So, thank you for that. All right. So we're going to, if you want to turn in your books, to those of you who have them, and if you don't, that's fine. We're going to page 168. So I haven't got any report for what anybody had for supper tonight. You have never heard of magnet fishing. Well, the Reader's Digest version of magnet fishing is I have a rope with an 800-pound magnet on the end. And it looks, and when I say 800 pounds, that sounds huge. It's not. It's just a little bit bigger than a master lock. And you throw that into the river or whatever. and it catches whatever metals down there. Like I said, we pulled out 26 railroad spikes tonight out of the river down Casey Geiger Park. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. See, crock pot pizza, Marge. Do explain what I mean. Is that what I think it is? As in pizza in a crock pot? And how exactly does that work? Pulled pork. Didn't you have that already this week, Amy? I think you told us you had that. Oh, I see that you said it again. Okay, I thought I'd already heard you had that one. So, all right. Okay. Parmesan pork chops, red beets, sliced tomato from Kroger. Very nice. Hi, Christina. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, Mark. Sounds good. Surf and turf. Good. Smoking Joe's for dinner. I'm going to have to confess, I do not know what Smoking Joe's are. Where I come from, Smoking Joe was a trucker that I knew, and I don't think you had him for supper tonight. So you have to enlighten me as to what Smoking Joe's are. Eggs and sausage is a good choice. I had a couple hard-boiled eggs today. Linda and Teresa both had eggs. Slice of cheese, couple of pepperoni, yellow pepper, slices, a Triscuit crackers, and a brownie. Nicely done. Nicely done on the brownie. I had some Fruit Loops with my supper, and I'm quite happy with those. So, all right. Best barbecue place in Sydney. All right. I will take that as me being edified tonight. Thank you, Tina and Mike. So, all right. All right. Well, good. Well, let's get started with our conversation tonight.
Would you like to chat with an Alexa Prize social bot?
No, but thank you.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea what just happened. Does anybody know what an Alexa social bot is? Because my tablet just asked me if I'd like to talk to one, and I said no. I don't know why that happened. It has never done that before, ever. Okay, well, all right. On that note, did you all hear my tablet start talking? That was weird. The glasses has it confused. That may be true. I got to pay more than $1.50 for these cheaters. So, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay, everybody, we're on page 168. I'm under the subheading "Wrong Beliefs Don't Make Life Right." I think that Teresa, perhaps my social life is not what it should be, and maybe that's what she's trying to tell me. I don't know. All right, so we're under the wrong beliefs don't make life right. So recently at a grocery store, I bumped into a guy I knew. I did his premarital counseling and officiated his wedding. Okay, that's where I'm at. The next line. Excited to see him, I immediately gave him a big hug and asked him about his family. I'll tell you right now, that is what we call a rookie pastor mistake. This is an error I can't say I've never made, but I try my best not to make this one, because this is a question you always regret asking of somebody you've not seen for a while. So that's not really any content for this chapter. I'm just telling you that 25 years has taught me you never ask that kind of a question, because chances are you're going to learn something you don't want to know. And if you've read the chapter, you know that's exactly what happened. So, so he talks about how, he was divorced from this wedding. So apparently he hasn't been active in church and a lot of this stuff. And very rarely, I've learned by getting burned by that question enough times that I never ask anymore. So just word to the wise on that one. Chances are if you run into somebody in the store and you're going to strike up a conversation, be careful what you ask them, because you never know what kind of changes have taken place. So, all All right, so we talked last night about God not exactly prioritizing our happiness, or being overly concerned with our happiness, or allowing our happiness to be a priority for him, much like he doesn't lose a lot of sleep over fairness. And being fair is not something that's terribly important to him. And so now he talks about here, he's going to continue his conversation about how happiness is not necessarily something he gets real concerned about. So one of the places that you can see this kind of obsession with happiness is, and I think I mentioned this last night, and so those of you who are here may remember this, is in commercials. Good grief, folks. Commercials are a great place to find out just how much of a priority the world wants happiness to be. Everybody wants to be safe and happy and just throw it out of their mind and whatever else. And he says on here, now I'm on page 169. He says last night he was watching TV and he discovered that he can't be happy without an ab cruncher, a 110-piece knife set, and a blanket with holes in it so he can put his arms through it. You guys have seen these commercials, right? I mean, I'm not the only one that has noticed this, and Craig's not the only one that's mentioned this, about how every commercial is about the latest thing to just make your life so blissful and so amazing and so perfect that if you'll just make the 3 easy payments on your credit card, this bundle of happiness will be packed into a box and shipped to you immediately for your extreme disappointment, usually. Has anyone else ever seen this? Am I the only one that's noticed it? Okay, Scott's seen it before, so at least somebody else has. And that they're selling happiness for just a price and so many payments and whatever. And that's what it's come to. And understand what those commercials are doing. They are trying to capitalize on what we believe is the most important thing in our life, and that is our own happiness, our own being happy. Yeah, Teresa, I don't have TV either at my house. I don't have cable. I have a TV, but I almost never turn it on. I don't have cable. I don't have Farmer Vision on it. I have nothing hooked to it. I have a DVD player, I think, hooked to it. But yeah, but I do watch YouTube. It's just as bad there, if not worse. In fact, in some ways, it's almost more annoying there because some of those commercials go on forever. But that's what advertising is all about. Your life is incomplete till you buy this product. Till you buy our what's the word? Our widget. You buy our widget, and whatever that widget is, it's going to make your life complete. Here it is. This is the widget you need. Change your life. What is it? It's a mouse, but you'll never be happy until you have a Microsoft brand mouse, a wireless mouse, because it can move your mouse all over your screen. And I don't know if you can see that with me, so you have to trust me. And I tell you, the experience of using that mouse, just totally life fulfilling. Now, I'm making fun of this concept, but have you ever watched a commercial? I mean, some of these forced conversations they have in commercials, where they're like, they have this product or this financial firm or whatever right on the tip of their tongue, including the exact name, the exact phone number, the website, and all this other stuff. And you're just like going, does any human being actually talk that way? I mean, no. But that's what they're preying on, is they're preying on that you will buy in to the fact that your happiness should be the only thing that matters. We hear this message all the time. One of the biggest problems that we are running into in our world today is I'm going to call it the cult of happiness. And I almost see that in some of these situations that we're facing here in modern times. It's all preying on the cult of happiness. And that's right, Tino. But wait, there's more. And it's the whole thing is ridiculous. It even sounds ridiculous when you talk about it. And so that's why I would like for you all to just be aware, because these messages, I guess I'll say, come from everywhere. And they are relentless, and they don't give up, and they don't slow down, and blah, blah, blah. And again, they're damaging and destructive if we allow them to be. And you want to watch out for that. Okay. Now, in the very next sentence, so the he says here, and I read this just because it's sarcastic. He says, "I've innocently been going through life wondering what I was missing. The whole time it was a Snuggie." Is that Snuggie? Is that the thing with the blanket with the armholes in it? Is that what a Snuggie is? I don't even know. It works when you see it on TV, but not when you get it home. They don't tell you that part, Teresa, but that part is in there. Snuggie, is that the blanket with the armholes in it? That is? Okay. You have to forgive me for not knowing that. I was assuming that's what it was. But it absolutely sounds ridiculous. When I'm here making fun of it right now, y'all know that I'm making fun of it. Don't buy a Snuggie, because go get your own blanket and cut your own armholes in it for a third the price. But that's the idea. It sounds ridiculous when I'm doing it, but when they do it, the advertising firm does it, or the company marketing the product does it, they're not doing it tongue in cheek like I am. They can make that sound pretty darn convincing, because we've all fallen for it at one time or another. And you feel dumb every time you do it, and we've all fallen for it. The Popel Pocket Fisherman. I'm assuming that's a product, Scott. I'm assuming that's a product you're mentioning there. I'd be very fascinated to know what that is, because I've never heard of it. But that's what it is. So if you go to the very next paragraph after this place where I'm reading, I'm still on page 169. The very next paragraph says, usually, it starts with usually. Listen to this. Without our knowing it, our pursuit of happiness through stuff is doomed to fail because it's based on a lie. It is based on a lie. And there is a Batman Snuggie DW? Do you have one of those at Kroger? Maybe I do need one. I never realized. Maybe that's what I've been missing in my life all this time. Is a Batman Snuggie. I sure hope that's not it, though. So, hey, Val Cisco. Yeah. So hey, don't be hawking your products in the chat, or I'll kick you out. Now, I don't want none of that going on, guys. But okay. So you guys clearly know what I'm talking about, because you guys are in the chat blowing this up. So that's fantastic. And you're right. That would make me way too hot, even in the wintertime. I'm not a blanket person. But yeah. So that's what it is. And the message is so relentless that all I have to do is mention it, and you guys have just picked this up and run with it, because we're all making fun of it, because we all know that's what it is. Yet we still fall for it. I got down to the church a few minutes early tonight because I wanted to have my supper and have a few minutes before we got here. So I was sitting here, and you know what I was doing to unwind? Clicking through eBay. I didn't buy anything, but I looked at I bid on something, but I immediately lost the auction. Just seeing what there is. Did you know that you could buy wall decals of Batman? That's what I was looking at. Batman wall decals. Now, does Pastor Tim need a Batman wall decal? No. But I'm still looking at him, because, again, it's this relentless pursuit of stuff. So before I got online, before the entire world on YouTube, to teach a lesson on materialism, I was trolling eBay. That's just how enticing the whole thing is. And now that I think about it, that's actually hilarious in a way. But you all get the idea. It's this relentless pursuit of stuff is all trying to appeal to our belief that happiness is our priority. We've all fallen for that. We've all bought the thing. and all this stuff. We've all bought it and been disappointed in it. In fact, what have I got here? What have I recently bought? Surely I got something here I bought. Here's this Milky Way candy bar that no one has managed to win from me yet. Are you serious? I have nothing here that I bought. Guys, I am totally failing. Well, how about that? I don't have. I guess it's over the closet now. But friends, you've all done that. Don't buy from Amazon. They just had a warehouse fire. That's not connected to the protest, is it? Or the riot? I'm sorry. That's not connected to the rioting, is it? The warehouse fire, because I know everybody's mad at Jeff Bezos because he's making so much money off the stupid quarantine thing. It was the warehouse. I haven't heard. Is that connected to the protests? I'm sorry. Is that connected to the riots? Window shopping never hurts. It's fun to look. Well, that's what I was doing. I was trolling eBay, trying to find something. I don't know what I was even looking for. So, don't know for sure. That would be real fascinating if somebody went and set Amazon on fire. I bet people's tune about these riots changes real quick. Interesting you would say that, Val, because that's exactly where I'm going. We're trying to fill the God space with stuff space, and that doesn't work. It's still on fire in LA. Oh my heavens. I will be trolling that after we're done here, just to find out, because now I'm curious. If somebody said Amazon on fire, oh my gosh, that could be horrible. I hope no one gets hurt, obviously, but guys, this whole thing is out of control. This looting and rioting stuff. Look, I understand we don't want police officers being mean to anybody. I totally get that. So I'm not exactly sure why we're protesting when we all agree. I don't know what we're protesting because we all agree. I'm still not clear on what that is, but what do I know? So, all right. So in this relentless pursuit of stuff, in this relentless pursuit of, getting more stuff and picking things up and whatever, he says, we aren't chasing peace. When we're out there looking for the stuff and we're trolling through eBay or we're wandering through Walmart or, we're at some specialty store or out there trying to, buy something for the sake of buying something. Craig says there on 169, he says, we aren't chasing peace. We're looking for thrills. Now, I know, again, this was written long before coronavirus and long before riots and whatever. This book, I think, is almost 10 years old, I think. Sometimes we do that because we're just looking for some adventure. And that's one of the things that the internet is just abysmal for. Even back in 2010, the internet was not then what it is today. Online gaming and online shopping and online dating and online chat and online life. I mean, honestly, you could never leave your house anymore almost if you get a job where you can stay home. And again, on the surface, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. What I am saying is that that gets boring after a while. And look, y'all know, look at my shirt, Cinema Sins. Any of you who are YouTube people, Cinema Sins has a channel where they go through and talk about, mistakes in movies. It's just kind of an interesting thing. So I enjoy all that stuff. But the problem with that is it just gets boring after a while. We want something exciting. Hi, Cheryl. Hey, you're welcome anytime you can get here. Thanks for coming out. But we were looking for something to be exciting. And that's what the pursuit of happiness is. So I'm bored. Now I expect to be entertained. So I expect my phone to do it. I expect my TV to do it. I expect my tablet to do it. I expect my laptop to do it. I expect, whatever. I'll tell you, tonight or this afternoon, I had a blast. And I'll tell you that going out and doing magnet fishing, Susan and I went out, we found a spot that we hadn't been before. And like I said, we pulled 26 railroad spikes out of the river. It was a blast. We had a blast doing that. And it's great. And it was adventure. We had to climb down a hill to get down there and had to chase off some people who were fishing and getting in our way. And Had to pull these things out. At one point, we got the thing stuck and had to pull. I mean, it was great. It was great. And hi, Eric. Glad you enjoyed your walk. And Amy, Tim, I'm scared because of the riots. Amy, I want you to hold that thought. I promise you at 8:55, I'm going to come back and talk about that exact topic because I had intended to say something about that tonight. So, Amy, hang on to that. I'm going to come back and talk about the riots and stuff. I've done some reading on that this week, and I have a few things I'd like to say about it, but I don't want to interrupt what we're doing here. So hang on to that. I'm going to come back to it. Okay, so anyways, we're looking for thrills. And, speaking of the riots, I think part of what's fueling the riots right now is people have been locked in their houses for 2.5 months. They're freaking bored. So let's go out and burn something down and throw things at police officers. I would like for them to have found something better to do. But anybody who doesn't think that's at least a part of what's going on here is crazy. So I just, I think it is a wrong placed motive. The motives are bad to start with, but the fuel behind them could have been pointed in a better direction. Now, one of the things he goes on to talk about here, I'm now on page 17. Oh my gosh, what the heck is this doing? Hold on. Did I lose you guys? You guys are still here, right? I'm sorry, I bumped something. I don't know what happened. Hey, hi, Susan with Magnet Fishing. Never heard of it before. Where have I been? Hey, sometimes we may have to have a big Wayne Street Magnet Fishing festival because Magnet Fishing is a super blast. Sorry, I don't know what happened. My whole screen turned blue, and now it's back. So, all right, sorry about that. I'm here. All right, I'm now on page 170. It says, I'm in the paragraph that starts, and actually, this is going to speak to a big conversation I didn't really get into, but you guys were having in the chat last night that I sort of stayed away from. And we're going to come back and address that now. He says, or we might live in the haunted romantic pursuit of the ever elusive true love, blinded by stories about saving Buttercup from the evil Prince Humperdinck. All right, one of you movie buffs out there, tell me, is that a Princess Bride? Is that the Princess Bride we're talking about, Buttercup and Prince Humperdinck? Or do I have the wrong movie? Somebody jump in the comments and tell me, is that the Princess Bride? Sue says the Princess Bride. Does that mean you agree with me, Sue? Because that was the first thing I thought of when I read that. I thought it was the Princess Bride, but I'm not sure. We're all looking for that. And okay, Susan and Laura both say yes, so clearly I'm correct. And I'm going to take that as authority right there. Because the Princess Bride was exactly what I was thinking of when I read that. Now, when we're looking for something exciting, Hollywood has been teaching me for 45 years and been teaching some of you longer and some of you not that long, the lesson that go out and find somebody to love, and that's going to make everything better. I can tell you right now, friends, that is not how it works. That is not how it works. And I know some of you were talking about, meeting people and wanting to get married and stuff in the chat last night. And I was like, ooh, I'm not getting involved in that conversation, but, that's where we're at. Well, that's what he's going to talk about here. And the very last sentence of that paragraph says, instead of seeking to serve one another, we wrongly believe that there's one person out there who exists solely to make us happy. That is the biggest lie. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. I realize that marriage is not the institution it used to be. I get that. I almost never, and by almost never, I mean actually never, have a couple that will come in here for like premarital counseling that don't already live together and normally bring their kids with them when they come. So honestly, any kind of work through issues and things I could do with them, there's nothing. In fact, I bet I could count the number in my 25-year career. I could count the number of people who are going into their first marriage, who aren't already living together and don't have kids. I could count those marriages on one hand, I'm pretty sure, and probably not need my thumb, because I have not done very many of those. That institution just, it doesn't exist anymore. So I understand marriage is not what it used to be. Look, and I'm not making any value statement on that. I'm just telling you what I've observed, and I struggle with that because I think this lie right here is the reason why marriage is such a letdown for so many people. Is this whole one true love, and everybody gets together and everything's hunky dory and everything's wonderful, and it just happily ever after. That doesn't happen. Yeah, Jess and Adam were one of the ones I was thinking of, Teresa, and they were one of the few. But it's such a lie. Even in Jess and Adam's case, it was a lie. Not that they believed it. I'm just saying, if they were to believe that, there's this person out there that's going to fulfill me and complete me and make me happy and blah, blah, blah. You know what happens to those people? They end up back in my office 2 years later, hating each other and getting ready to get divorced. And that's kind of where that goes. That's where that ends up. Because when that lie doesn't pan out, which it does exactly 0% of the time, when that doesn't pan out, then everybody wants out. Love is a verb, and it is work, no matter if it's family, friends, or spouses. Yep. Dr. Cheryl there is dropping a truth bomb in the comments for you guys. That is true. It does take work. All relationships, honestly, are about what you can give to it. Any relationship that you go into wanting to receive from it will fail. Will. It's a matter of when, not if. And I'm telling you right now, so many people have their head in the stars on this one about how they're going to find this person to make everything in life better. And I'm telling you what, that is not how it works. That is a recipe for disappointment. Take it from a guy who knows. You don't ever. There are two things you always want to avoid. You don't want to be in a relationship where you're responsible for the other person's happiness, and you do not want to be in a relationship where the other person is dependent upon you to make them happy. If either of those sentences describes your relationship, the relationship will fail. I don't care if it's a marriage. I don't care if it's a friendship. I don't care if it's coworkers. If you are expecting the other person to fulfill or complete or make you happy, or the other person is expecting that of you, you are heading directly for disaster. You should always enter into any. I don't care if you're going over to meet your neighbor for the first time and you'd like to be friends with them. It's still, if you're going over there because you think someday I may need them to mow my yard for me or let my dog out or something, that you are setting yourself up for disaster. Even something that simple. You have to go into a relationship of any kind. Even if you're just going to be buddies, you have to go into the relationship with the expectation that all you're going to do is give. Because if you expect to receive anything, you are basically saying, please disappoint me, because that's what's going to happen. Person's not going to do it on purpose, or maybe they will, but probably won't. I mean, they're not entering into a relationship going, gosh, how can I best let this person down? But if your expectations are receive only, or receive primarily, or really receive at all, man, you are setting that relation up to be doomed. Yep, Eric, it takes work every hour, every minute of every day. That is true. And it never stops, ever, till you die. And might not even stop then. Happiness starts and ends within me. That's probably a good place to find it, Val. And Cheryl and Scott agree with you, Eric, and I do too. Because it takes work, because you have committed to pour into the other person. And the other person, if the relationship is healthy, has committed to pour into you. They're not in it for what they can get out of it. They're in it for what they can give to it. And I don't care what even if it's a business arrangement, the more you expect out of the relationship, the more danger you're in. You know, even if it's a financial relationship, and even if you're going to go make friends with your neighbor, even if you're going to, go out with another couple, If you are going into the relationship with aspirations of receiving, that relationship is doomed. It will not ever work. Marriages don't, friendships don't, acquaintances don't, coworkers don't. And that's what he's saying here. Look, being in a relationship that you could pour into is one of life's most fulfilling gifts. The problem is we don't look at it that way. We go in wanting to consume because that's what we've been trained to do. That's what all these commercials prioritizing our happiness have taught us to do. We enter into a situation to consume, including a relationship. We go into a relationship to consume. And that is absolutely the wrong way to do it because people just can't sustain that. Your attitude about how you enter into a relationship. Again, marriage, friendship, acquaintance, coworker, family, whatever the relationship is. Your attitude about that relationship will be displayed every time the other person does something. Okay? When they do something that pleases you. Okay? So if you come home and your spouse is cleaning up the house and has a good supper ready, okay? In that moment, you're going to find out what your attitude toward the relationship is. If you come home and that has happened and your attitude is, well, darn right, that's what should have happened. That's why you're here. The relationship is in trouble. If you come home and say, oh, my word, this was wonderful. I wasn't expecting this. Thank you for having all this stuff together. It's been great. That's a healthy relationship. It's an easy way to tell. When the person you're in a relationship with, again, spouse, friend, coworker, family, acquaintance, neighbor, whatever, when that person does something nice for you, your attitude about the relationship will be displayed at that point. If it's darn right, you should have done that, the relationship is in trouble. If it's thank you so much, if it's appreciation, relationship probably looking pretty good. That's an easy way to tell. God should always be at the center of our daily lives. Yes, I think that goes without saying. Eric says, and needs to be God with a capital G. Always that capital G. We like that phrase, don't we? Yes, and I agree. Val says, I have Netflix and Roku, no commercials. Amen. God bless you, Val. And any relationship where you're going into with the expectation of receiving is a relationship that's going to disappoint you. No matter how committed the other person is to providing every desire you could ever have. So keep that in mind. Do not take your consumer tendencies into a relationship. Because once you consume so much, guess what? There's nothing left to consume. Just like my candy bar that nobody can win from me. I can only consume this candy bar for so long before there's nothing left. And relationships are the same. If you go into them to consume, you can only go so long before there's nothing left. Can I get a witness from the congregation? How many of you have ever been in one of those relationships? Been in a relationship with a consumer? Any of you ever been in a relationship like that? A relationship with somebody who just consumes until there's nothing left? Whether it be a spouse or a friendship or a acquaintance or a family member or a neighbor or a coworker. Somebody who entered into a relationship and simply consumed until there was nothing left. You ever been there? The relationship didn't thrive, did it? No matter how hard you tried, no matter how hard you worked, that relationship didn't thrive because having a relationship with a consumer is hard. And that's why this lie of, well, just go find somebody who serves every need that you have. That's such a lie. It's an enticing lie because it speaks to our consumerist nature. But it is a recipe for destruction. I mean, even the Death Star from Star Wars couldn't destroy as quickly as that attitude can. And let me tell you something, the Death Star can blow up a whole planet. So keep that in mind. So going to a healthy relationship is where both parties are committed to giving. Think about the wedding vows. They're all about what you're going to give, not what you're going to receive. And just something to think about. There's a lot of responsibility in being in a healthy relationship. Okay. One of the things that being a consumer will make us do is we're also all looking for a deal. Let's come back to this candy bar is playing a big role tonight. Okay, so suppose this candy bar is, I have no clue how much candy bars cost. So let's assume this candy bar is $5, okay? This candy bar is $5 at my man DW's Kroger, okay? I'm sure it's not $5, but we're just going to say it is. And I say, I'll sell you this candy bar for $4. However, in order to get the price down to $4, I'm using imitation chocolate, and I'm not using peanuts. I'm using leftover potatoes. Okay, but it's still gonna be $4. How many of you are gonna pay $4 for this candy bar, or go over to my man DW's Kroger and buy one with real peanuts and real chocolate for $5 and enjoy that one a lot more? Right? And see, being a consumer, though, sometimes, yeah, it sounds nasty. I don't want a Milky Way with potatoes in it. That sounds gross. But that's what consumers will do, is they're going to weigh the choice. Okay? He does that here. He says he went in, and apparently a thing called, what do you call it? Crab dip? What the heck is this? He says, my wife sent me to the grocery once by myself, which, look, that was a mistake that was on her. She should have known better. So, okay, large container of crab dip. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not know what crab dip is, but that sounds absolutely disgusting. I've seen crabs before. Why anyone would be inclined to eat one, I do not know. So I don't know what crab dip is. If you like crab dip, I might have lost a little respect for you, but that's okay. But to me, something called whatever crab dip is sounds yuck. Blech. Okay, so I don't know what it is. So maybe it's wonderful, but it just doesn't sound something I would want. And he says it was only $4.99, which he sensed a bargain. Well, that's what consumers do. It sounds like a bargain. So he went and bought it, and they said he brought it home, and he took one bite and realized the crab meat was imitation crab meat. Friends, look, yes, I'm a vegetarian. Crab is not something that it's going to appeal to me in the first place, but I'm going to be honest with you. As nasty as it sounds to eat crab, imitation crab sounds illegal. What is an imitation crab? Second thought, please don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what imitation crab is. But friends, that's what consumerism gets you. Is you end up with imitation crab instead of the real thing. Somehow that sounds even more gross than eating one of those crustaceans from the bottom of the ocean. Too often we pass up we pass up the real thing for the imitation because we think we're getting a bargain. And we find out when we get a big old mouthful of crab dip, we think we're getting a bargain. Until we get home and find out, you know what? Imitation ain't as good as a real thing. Just like Milky Way made with potatoes. It just sounds stupid, but you get the idea. Yeah, you get what you pay for, Teresa. I couldn't agree more. Imitation cheese. Yeah, pass on that. Cream cheese with crab meat on top with cocktail sauce on crackers. Yum. Okay, Trina. If we're ever someplace and they're serving that, I promise you eat all you want and don't offer me any. To Mike and Tina like that, I'm so happy for you. But I'm not going to lie, that the thought of that actually turns my stomach. Yuck. So just something called crab dip. Yeah, pass. Scott says he fell into that trap today. I hope not with the crab dip trap. Because that sounds like something awful. But yeah, friends, don't pass up real for imitation. I'm starting to get to the point in my life now that even like some of these artificial sweeteners and things, I just put sugar in my stuff, please. I'd much rather have that. Just some of that stuff that the chemical compound for artificial sweetener is plastic. I don't want to put that in my stomach. So, and sometimes that's what we do though. As consumers, we consume all this fake stuff. We consume online stuff. We consume virtual stuff. And God's like, I made this whole world out here, and maybe y'all ought to come out and try that instead of this virtual imitation stuff. And real butter is best, Cheryl. Cheryl dropping yet another truth bomb in the chat. Yeah, do not do margarine. Do not do spread, whatever that crap is. Don't do that. Go get the real stuff and enjoy your butter because butter's delicious. So. All right. Yeah, everybody's loving them some real butter. That's right. So, all right. So you guys get the idea. The imitation is never as good. It's always a stand-in for the real thing, and it's never as good. So, and which is what makes it so interesting, I guess is the word. We're looking for happiness. We go out to find it. We look in the wrong place, and then we settle for something artificial. We go out looking for love, and we try to find it, in a dating site or someplace worse on the internet. It's never as good. We go out looking for real crab and end up with imitation crab. And as Scott Moran is telling us, ain't as good. And I just don't know why you want real crab in the first place, but that's on you. But that whatever. But so we're looking for happiness. We try to cut corners. We settle for an imitation, and we're disappointed by it, and then we wonder why. God has this thing for us, whether it be a relationship, whether it be an experience, whether it be a job, whether it be whatever. We try to cut corners and be happy with an imitation and end up disappointed in that. So not only are we disappointed in what we ended up with, we've missed out on what would have been really good. Yeah. The imitation God that we spell with a little g, Teresa. That's exactly right. Trina says, imitation of anything is not good. God is the real thing. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with big G God and whatever we're doing because nothing else comes close. So, all right. In the next section, under more than happy, Craig really, I feel like, gets to the real heart of this chapter. And really does just a great job presenting a very good point here. He says, when we reach the final principle of godly happiness, we find a promise of unbelievable blessing. Okay, hear this next sentence. He says, God doesn't want us to be happy because God wants us to be blessed. Look, and I was here too, so I'm not faulting anybody for this. But I always kind of put those two things together. Being happy and being blessed are the same thing. Craig is differentiating them, and now that he makes his case, I think he's right. We can be happy we are blessed, and we can be blessed to be happy, but I'm not sure those are exactly the same thing. Because I don't know that we can pursue happiness. I think the writer of the book of Ecclesiastes talks about chasing the wind. I think going after happiness is like trying to grab the wind in your hands. It just doesn't work. However, I do think we can pursue blessing. I think we can pursue that. I think we can make choices that bring us closer to that. I think we can have experiences of blessing. Today, I could have done a lot of things, but Susan and I decided to go magnet fishing, and we had a ball. Got wet and dirty and stank half to death because of the river water, but we were blessed. I may not have been happy that I had to put my shoes on the vent when I got home, but it was a good time. It was a blessing to be able to do that. And I think that many of us pass up the blessing for happiness. And just by making that statement, I think I'm differentiating. They're not the same thing. We go for the pursuit of happiness and miss out on blessing. Where blessing may not every step in the process of getting blessed may not be happy. When we arrive at blessing, we will be a lot more pleased that we did. Okay, I missed a whole bunch of comments here. Cheryl says, there's a saying that love will come when you're not looking for it. Yes, I believe that because, again, trying to search for it it's like trying to try. You guys remember those pictures that were out? I don't know, it was a long time ago. And it was like this weird thing, and you stared at it for a while, and all of a sudden, when your eyes relaxed, you saw or supposedly saw a 3D picture in it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I never saw one of those, but other people told me they existed. I think love is kind of like that. The harder we try to stare on it and focus on it, the more crazier it becomes, and the less able to find it becomes. Val and Eric, I agree with that. Amy, my parents out there say there are plenty of fish in the sea. That's true. Interesting. Blessing from God is not always tangible, Teresa. I definitely agree with that. And so does Sherry. Joy says the simple things in life that give us joy and blessings. Again, yes, we sometimes make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Cheryl says, I am very blessed and those will always be with me, but happiness comes and goes. Yeah, and it depends on a lot of things. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think that God, if God is sitting up in heaven and has a choice between making us happy and blessing us, he's going to bless us. Parents, think about how you deal with your kids. You have a chance to make your kids happy in a moment or bless them for a lifetime. Which one are you going to go with? I mean, that's not even most of you probably don't even consider that and shouldn't. Because to try to, prioritize your children's happiness at any given moment is going to cause them to miss out on massive blessings in their future. Because they're in the moment, and the children are in. I mean, that's where they are. Children are right here and right now. And if we allow them to miss out on things that need to happen because we want to make them happy in a moment, we are forfeiting some great things could be in their life. So, Linda, I'm glad you and I agree on the crab meat thing. That just frightens me. Yeah, Cheryl agrees. Yeah, simple things in life, simple pleasures. And sometimes we make it a whole lot more complicated than it needs to be. Why? Because we're consumers. And we want stuff to come to us. We want to click on Amazon and order it so it comes to us. We want to click on eBay and order it so it comes to us. We want to, click on the computer and go to a website so it comes to us. Well, sometimes you got to go out and go to it. That's where the blessing is at. And I think that's a good way to look at it. Okay, he goes on to talk about a young mother who passed away from his church, which was it was heart-wrenching to read, particularly with the events of the past couple of weeks. And he says something here that I just it got to me a little bit. I'm on page 171. I'm in the a paragraph that starts with, there were enough tears shed to fill a small swimming pool, and I don't doubt that for a second. I want to read the next sentence in that paragraph. This is what he says. He says, there was nothing happy about our human loss. Look, there's nothing happy in a funeral, period. We can remember the person. We can laugh with them, laugh about things they've done and things that they've done, and they've lived a great life up to 99 years old and everything was great and they passed away peacefully in their sleep. There's still sadness at a funeral. Again, there are degrees of sadness. I'm absolutely 10 zillion% in agreement with that. But in that moment, when they were at that funeral for this young mother who was a good Christian lady, but lost a lot, nobody there was happy that day. But he goes on to say, but I can promise you there wasn't a person in that church building who couldn't sense the presence of God. What a blessing that would have been. Heart-wrenching? Yes. Happy? Absolutely not. Joyous? Probably not. Blessed? I think so. And that's a powerful witness and a great evidence of the proof that happiness and blessing are not the same thing. And if you ever have the chance to choose between the two, go for blessing, because that's what God's going to choose. He will choose blessing over happiness every day of the week. And that's something to keep in mind. He goes on from there to say in the very next paragraph, he says, it's only when we manage to quiet the Christian atheist in us and seek God and his kingdom over the empty and hollow things of this world that we can experience true and lasting blessing. Get over being a consumer, consuming everything. Get over that. Find how you can give into the relationships and situations in your life. Figure out a way to give to those things. And you'll be amazed at the blessing that will come back. May not always make you happy, but it will make you realize your blessing. Let's be honest, it hardly gets better than that. And here's something that he goes on to tell a story about Max Lucado. And any of you who've ever read a Max Lucado book, the guy is a master. He's a master with the pen. He just, his books are not necessarily deep, I don't think, but they're very, very well written and they're very applicable. And Craig quotes a story from When God Whispers Your Name, which was a very, very popular book a few years back. Many of you probably have read it. I read it at one point years ago. And I agree, Val. That's how I want my funeral to be too. And I just want to read this to you and let you know here's the difference between blessing and happiness. I'm on page 172 if you'd like to follow along. Yes, thank you, Beth. Max Lucado told a story about a fish in his book, When God Whispers Your Name. My version is slightly different. Let's start with a question. Do you think a fish would be happy on a sandy beach? And if you have to ask a fifth grader that, I'm worried about you. The obvious answer is, of course not. The fish's little gills would be slapping in and out like hands clapping and his body flopping end to end like a crazed acrobat. Well, imagine if we gave our fish friend $100,000 in cold, hard, tax-free cash. Do you think the fish would be happy now? Can you picture him still flapping and flopping? Supposing we give him a cold Corona and a Playfish magazine. There's an image nobody wants to have. Again, fishy would not be happy. No matter what we give the fish on the beach, it won't satisfy him. There's nothing that can make that fish happy on the beach because he isn't made for the beach. The sand is not his home. Anything apart from the water will leave him wanting for the place for which he was created. The same is true as us, of us. And guys, if you miss anything else, get these next couple of sentences. You ready? We are not happy with the things of this world because we're not made for this world. Friends, you should find online experiences disappointing. You should find television disappointing. You should occasionally find your relationships, situations, and jobs in this life disappointing because we're not made for this. We are strangers, aliens, foreigners on this earth. We are made to dwell forever with our Lord in heaven. And see Philippians 3:20, which you all already know what that says. Okay? We're not made for this world. We should find it disappointing because we were made for more. We will never discover lasting happiness in the temporary things of this world because we weren't made to live a temporary life. Okay? That's why we find it disappointing. Everything in life we find disappointing at times because we're not created for this. Just like, I have a seminary education. If you guys drag me down and make me sit in a little kid Sunday school class, I might have a lot of fun with the kids, interacting with kids. I would love that part of it. But I'm not going to find a lesson on Zacchaeus to be very intellectually stimulating because I'm way beyond that. Again, I'm not saying that in arrogance. I'm saying as a 43-year-old man, I should be beyond that. It's the same thing as here. Everything in this life is going to be occasionally disappointing because we're not made to live in this world. We were not created to live on this earth. All right, we are a part of this earth as temporary, as passers through. And we're going on to something much greater than what we see here. By definition, temporary will be disappointing. That is the very definition of temporary to beings that have an eternal peace in us like we do. Okay? So that's something y'all need to keep in mind, that occasionally we are going to be disappointed by everything we see here because we know we are made for so much more. So yeah. All right. So you guys are into that, but that's something we need to keep in mind. And that's why we need to have our sights set on something greater. Honestly, if you think about it, the things in life that bless us the most are the things that have eternal ramifications, that have forever written all over them. Those things never disappoint. They may not always make us happy, but they don't disappoint. They're blessings. And we need to focus on those things, even though the world is telling us something far contrary to that. But something important to keep in mind. And with that, I believe we come to the end of this chapter. All right. Anybody got anything more for the good of the order here tonight? Our numbers were a little down tonight. Appreciate you guys who came out. I know it's Friday night and people are starting to be able to be out doing things, but I appreciate you guys being here. Yep. This world is not our homeland. You're right. So, okay. Well, we have stumbled our way to the end of chapter 9. Tomorrow we will, thanks, Teresa. Tomorrow we will go on to chapter 10, which I think may be a little bit of a change. My anticipation is that tomorrow night, some of you are really going to resonate with it, and my thinking is some of you may not. Tomorrow night is when you believe in God, but trust more in money. And this is a trap that many of us have fallen into in one form or another. And I have not read this chapter yet, so I don't know what it's going to say. But I want you guys to give some thought about what we're looking at here. And what are my thoughts about the riot? That's right. I promised I would do that. Can I have 5 minutes of privilege here to go 5 minutes over? If not, if you need to log off, go ahead. But I did want to say something about the riots and things that are going on. Let me tell you what's really going on with the riots, at least from my perspective. Again, there are no riots here in St. Mary's. I've not been around any rioters or anything. But here's what I want you to see. And this is the part of the riots that are really scary. The part that frustrates me with the riots is we are looting and destroying and burning things in the name of a man that was killed, that not only one person on the planet is in favor of that man being dead, and that person is in jail and will be in jail for a long time to the cheers of everyone. My question with this is, how can we have riots and when we all agree? The only people who are complete imbeciles are going to approve of this man, George Floyd, being dead. He should not be dead. What happened to him was an evil, heinous act by a person who made a horrendous mistake. When somebody's handcuffed on the ground, I don't care what they're doing. Don't kneel on their neck, period. There's no negotiation in that. So since we all agree, why are we protesting? That's the part that's the part I want to comment on. One of the things that I have been watching over the past, and it's been longer than this riot situation here, and it's starting to come to a head, is we have a generation, the generation behind mine, the generation that is younger than me. It actually doesn't happen again and again, Cheryl. The problem is that this police brutality thing, there's only been 3 unarmed black men shot in the entire year last year, shot without some kind of provocation. And that's it's a perceived problem, and the perceived problem comes from the new religion that's starting to spring up in the United States. The 20-somethings in our world have. He was being arrested for forgery, which was not a violent offense. But the new religion that's starting to spring up in the United States is that well, we can disagree about the stats. The thing that I want to say is that whatever statement we want to make about this man or anybody else, burning and looting and rioting is not the way to do that. Peaceful protest, absolutely, I'm all for that. There's probably reason for that in this situation. I certainly support that. I do not support the destruction of property or police officers having bricks thrown at them. I do not support that. But so in what's going on here, there's a rise of a new religion happening in the United States, and this is what scares me. The generation behind mine, they've grown up mostly, not completely, but many of them apart from the church. They've gone into the world of academia where they are taught, to not respect any of the old institutions that we feel so strong toward. They don't have any allegiance to really anything but themselves. They don't have allegiance to the country. They don't have allegiance to faith. They have nothing. And a couple of you have mentioned here tonight that there's a God-shaped hole inside of all of us. I absolutely agree with that. And I think what people are starting to fill that with is this idea of social justice. And I think that's a very dangerous way to go. That's why, and if you think about it, there's a whole religious code to that. If you say something that is unapproved, you have to repent, retract, and grovel, and ask for forgiveness from those who are the priests in this, who are the media and different things like that. They're chanting things. They are using great apologies. They're expecting people to kneel to each other, and no human should ever kneel to another human. We kneel only to God, and that's something I do not agree with. Should we respect? Absolutely, but kneeling is not respecting. So that's not how that works at all. And this whole religious, this new religion that's coming up of wokeism, I don't know what you want to call it, is eroding everything, and it's forcing divisions. It's making people hate each other for the color of their skin, and all that is wrong. All those things are wrong. I'm not saying everybody, well, obviously, I believe everybody should be a Christian, but that's not the government's choice. I don't think the government has the right to do that, ever. Even though, obviously, where I stand personally, and I'm going to do all in my power to win people over to my side, but I do not think anyone should be forced to be there, ever. But, when you got somebody like Drew Brees saying, I don't think we should kneel before the flag because the flag reminds me of my two grandfathers who served in World War II. And the next day he has to go out and make a full apology to that and bow down to this ideology that there are no institutions anymore. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right. I think Drew Brees is allowed to think whatever he wants. And if Pop, he doesn't have to agree with me either. Drew Brees is free to say whatever he wants to say, and it just scares me how these violent undertones in our society have sort of banded together and created this religion where now they can police what you say, police what you think. They can assign you motives. When who knows if they're there or not? This guy who kneeled on this man's neck, was it wrong? Yes, but I can't say for sure it was a racial thing. He may have been a jerk to everyone. Was it, again, should he be in jail? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't care why he did it. That guy should put him in a cell and throw away the key. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I just don't know that we should assign motives to him. It just scares me how far that's going in this religious fervor that we're having now of people doing all these things. And I agree with you, Amy. I have been very concerned about some of these things I'm seeing, about people who are willing to throw bricks at police officers and things like that. I think that's wrong. What happened to anybody who was abused by the police is wrong. I don't care if they're green. It makes no difference. Everyone should be respected by, well, everyone else. This way it should work. It doesn't, but it should. But I don't know that we want to go so far as to disrupt so many of these institutions that have been so good to us through the years. It just frightens me that that's where we're going. I think that this is not comforting. I'm just very concerned that this what I see happening here is becoming a religion. There are priests in this religion who can they can give absolution. You confess your sins. And everything is about being woke and accepting everybody as they are, and there's no transformation, and God is who you want God to be, and you can pick your gender and pick whatever you want. We're giving away a lot of stuff right now that I just don't know if we should be turning our back on, considering the fact it's been pretty effective for a very, very long time. We cannot, under any circumstances, legislate fairness and be free. We cannot do those two things at the same time. And my concern is that everybody's out for themselves, and if they don't get what they want, they're going to threaten violence and things like that. That's not what we are. That's not what we do. When somebody breaks the law, we arrest them, we put them on trial, and then we decide what the penalty should be, which should happen for the guy who kneeled on the guy's neck, and it should happen for anybody else who breaks the law. But this idea that we can take all these things into our own hands and deal with them ourselves, I disagree with that. Because we are a society of laws and rules. And look, if we look at laws and rules and find out that one of them is not consistent with who we are as a people, then we could come back and look at it. But I don't know of any law that it's going to make me say, oh, we should handcuff a guy and stand on his neck. There is no law I'm going to agree with that. And 99.99% of the population would never agree to that, regardless of the circumstances. And so what can we do? Well, the first thing we need to do is not be afraid. If we want to make a stand and say, I love God and I love our country, we should be allowed to do that, because I do love God and I do love our country. And I'm proud of the heritage of 3 or 4 of my grandparents who served in World War II. I'm proud of them. Of all the women and men who are out there now serving the armed forces, I'm proud of them. I don't always agree with what police officers do, but I support them. Just like I don't agree with what all pastors do, but I support them too. And I really think that we are painting ourselves in a corner by allowing everything to get thrown out by the mob. Mob rule is never how we have done things. And why the mob is out there screaming exactly what everyone else is thinking, and that is, we want justice for George Floyd. That doesn't make any sense to me. I want justice for George Floyd, but I'm not motivated to go throw bricks at anybody to get that done. And I don't understand why anyone else is. And it is frightening. And that's why we need experiences like this one we're having here tonight, where we have some community and a chance to talk and a chance to be together and a chance to know each other. We don't have to wear masks here, figuratively or literally. I know I can't see any of your faces, but you all can see mine. And I'm not perfect, and I say things that are wrong, and I do things that are wrong. And you guys have, we work on these things together. We can't do that anymore. We can't even have a conversation anymore. We can't even talk. We have people get online. We have grandchildren who get online against their grandparents and say awful things. Why are we doing that? Why is that happening? Look, we don't have to agree on everything, but you don't do a personal attack about everything you don't agree with. Look, there are 20 of us still logged in here listening to me ramble on here tonight, and I'm sure that the 20 of us that are still here, We can find plenty that we disagree on. But you know what? I love you guys all anyways. You still honor me with your presence by being here. All that is still true. And I don't want us to give that up. That's what I feel like is happening. And that bothers me. Because we're just giving up the greatest gift, the second greatest gift we've ever been given, and that's freedom. And we're giving it up. We spent almost 3 months in lockdown for COVID-19. And how do we come out of that? We come out of that looting and throwing bricks and burning. And quite frankly, I'm ashamed of that. And I want, people within the sound of my voice to be able to be better than that. Justice for George Floyd, without a doubt. Without a doubt. That guy, and I don't even know his name, and I wouldn't dignify it by saying it in this live stream. But whatever that police officer's name is, he deserves more than what he's going to get. And I hope he gets the fullest extent of the law, because that is unacceptable to be that way. But at the end of the day, friends, we got, as a culture, as a people, no matter what our race, our gender, our nationality, our origin, whatever, we got to find a way to talk to each other. And what I see now is nobody wants to talk to anybody. Democrats won't talk to Republicans. Republicans won't talk to Democrats. The different races won't speak to each other. Economic classes don't speak to each other. Neighbors don't speak to each other. That has to stop. That has to end. Conversation needs to start up, and conversations where nobody shouts. And if we can't get to that point, then let's be entirely honest. We don't deserve the freedom that our forefathers gave us. Simple as that. If we can't find a way to freaking talk to each other, then we don't deserve what we've got. And that's just the truth of it. So I want you guys to hang in there. You guys, small town America, us, we are the backbone of this country, regardless of what the coasts tell us. We are the ones that keep things running. We are the ones who pay the taxes. We are the ones who vote. We are the ones who do things that make this country run. And by God, we're going to keep doing it. And we're going to do it until we can't do it anymore, because we are proud of what we have. We are proud of what we have been given. We intend to be good stewards of it, and we want to give something great to our children, because so much has been given to us. And right now, I am quite frankly ashamed of what we're putting on the table. Our children deserve better than this. My 5-year-old nephew, Jake, he deserves a better world than this one. He and his mommy and daddy were supposed to go to Buffalo to visit his other grandparents over the weekend. Couldn't go because of the riots. That is pathetic. That is pathetic. That is pathetic. And if we can't find a way to be better than that, then we don't deserve what we have. And that's how I feel about it. So I hope that those of us who are here and want to be a part of something good, we will be a part of something good. We're going to be a part of a kingdom where everybody is welcome. There will be no check the box of which race you are when you get in the door, because nobody cares. And economic class and whatever, we don't care. We want to embrace every brother and sister we have, regardless of what color their skin is, regardless of what their bank account says. That's what we do. And every church I serve will be committed to that until I'm not around to do it anymore. And I know that I say that with full support of those of you who are here. I'm not making a bold stand here because you guys agree with me. And that's what makes us great. That's where greatness comes from. So that was a very rambling 20 minutes I just went on there. And I say this because I think it's important for us to understand that we will not be dictated to how we will behave, and we will not be dictated to how we are supposed to feel and what we are to believe in. It won't. It's not an option, because we believe in equality for everyone. We believe in loving people and taking care of communities and building people up. And we are going to do that until Jesus asks us to stop. And I haven't seen any indication that that order is coming. So Wayne Street, if we're going down, Wayne Street will be the last thing that goes. So, we're going to change the world starting with this community. That's where we are, and that's where we're going. And that's why 3 months ago when they said no more church meetings, I immediately went out to figure out how to do this so we could get on YouTube and continue talking. And you folks have been so faithful to be here. Just warms my heart. And it gives me faith in what we are capable of if we'll just get our head out of our butt. Simple as that. So, all right. I think I have kept you guys long enough. I need to let you all go to bed. So, I appreciate you guys all being here. I appreciate what you had to say. Thank you for giving me a chance to rant on this. I'm sure this won't be the last time we hear from it, but we're going to keep fighting the good fight because that's what Jesus asked us to do, and that is exactly what we intend to do. So everybody hang in there. It's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out, and we're only going to be responsible for, and that is this community, and that's how it's going to be. So you guys keep praying and keep hanging in there, and appreciate all you guys do. Thanks for being here. Love you all very much. Go wash those hands.